You asked for it. Here it is. It's a podcast from Apathetic Enthusiasm.
In this episode, we hang out and talk about things and hope that the thunderstorm over my house doesn't cut out the power. It's Apathetic Enthusiasm.
Brought to you by California Edison, the power company.
Yeah. They serve all over the Midwest with power.
Sure do.
Yeah,
They sure do. They sure do.
Sure
Enron was a part of the whole SoCal Edison debacle back in the early 2000s, right? The whole rolling blackouts.
Did they shred all their records?
I think they did. I didn't. So in the 2000s, when Enron was a whole thing,
year 2000.
and everyone was blaming Gray Davis for the rolling blackouts, and then they had the recall, and that's when Schwarzenegger came into office. I didn't realize that Enron was an integral part of that whole thing, that whole situation at the time. I won't get into details because I don't know them, but I just know that, that Enron and SoCal Edison and the rolling blackouts was a big thing. They were saving money by turning the power off. There wasn't a power shortage. There was a money shortage.
Yeah. So welcome to Apathetic Enthusiasm, the podcast where we get deep into the geopolitical situations that took place in California in the early 2000s. Back with another groundbreaking episode. I'm Travis. He's Brandon.
I'm Brandon. Yes. If you might recognize us from a previous talk we had about the gas shortage in the mid 70s,
one of our best episodes,
one of our highest rated episodes back in 1982.
That's right. This episode, of course, brought to you by In-N-Out Burger and other regionally popular places.
Whataburger and Sonic. Rallies is probably
Rallies. Oh man, seasoned fries from Rallies. Get out of town. Get out of town. I listened to a very popular, long, it's like the show's been on for like 17 years. This podcast, and they record in L.A. and it's a bunch of comedians. And recently they've been doing extremely LA specific jokes where they'll mention a restaurant or store in LA, and then it's like a bit where they talk about which route they would use to get there and like which freeway they would take and then what exit. And it's totally a thing that Californians talk about. Is do people not from California, do they not discuss how to get places? Is that not I mean, I know we're both from California, so we don't really have anyone else to ask, but I don't know. Well, I talk about like driving routes all the time.
I think it's, I don't know. I feel like in California, there are so many different ways to get from one place to the other. You can cut through side streets and you can go this way. You're like, you can cut across this way instead, and they'll save you, a couple minutes. But like in Hawaii, for example, H1, H2, H3, those highways.
You've named them all.
That's right. That's all there is. And if you want to take a side street, all it's going to do is go parallel to the freeway, and it is just as quick or maybe slower.
Potentially faster. Depending on like traffic on each one,
Yeah.
I'm sure I've mentioned this before, but at the time when I would have mentioned this, nobody listening to the podcast at that time could possibly be listening to us still. So I'll retell it for our current audience. When I lived on Hawaii, the scale of maps was very jarring to me. Because I don't know, just everything seems kind of like a little bit more expanded or something. So when I would look at a map and I'd be like, oh, okay, this street is here and then this street is going to be a quarter mile away or whatever. And in the time it took for me to think that, I had already passed the street I was looking for and gone like half a block further down. Because like I don't know what it is about Hawaii. I mean, obviously it's an island. It's small, but it's not
It is an island,
smaller
yeah.
than like a normal city or something like that. The metropolitan area in which I commute on a daily basis, I don't think is larger than the island of Oahu. But for some reason, when I'm like, oh, this street's going to be over there, my brain said, oh, it'll be a mile away. And then it's just right there. I passed it. I don't know. Was that an issue for you? Did you experience that? You're like,
No.
no, I just use GPS, sucker.
No, I didn't feel like I had that scale issue in Hawaii. I feel like I have that scale issue here in LA for some reason. I feel well, okay, so I was going to this like little trophy.
It's because when you
Uh,
lived in LA before, you were younger, and everything was bigger.
That's true. That's true too. I was going to this like awards and trophies place, and it was off the 405, and you got off the freeway, and then there's train tracks,
What
and
exit
my
did you
buddy
get
was
off on?
I forget what it was. It might have been uh, Inglewood, and
That's the level of the joke, by the way, on Comedy Bang Bang. Is they're like, oh, I took the 405, and then I get off on Inglewood, but what, really? You'd get off there? Why wouldn't you take? And then they'd say some other freeway, and then just ride some side street all the way up. And it's incredibly funny to the four of them there, and then I get a kick out of it. But for the most part, I think 90% of their listening audience is just like, I don't. Anyway, you were driving
yeah,
to the store.
we don't,
You were driving
anyway,
to the
you
store.
get off the freeway, and then there's my buddy said you get off, and then you have to make basically like an immediate left. And so I get off the freeway. I'm following the GPS, and the GPS says make a left in 200 feet, and there's a bunch of lefts you can make and it's like a little industrial place. There's like a warehousey building, and then right next to it there's like an auto mechanic, and then the train tracks. So I make a left into the first one, and I'm like, no, this isn't the right address. Crap. So then I I have to make a left out of that onto the main road again, and then I'm like, okay, it must be this next place. So I make that next left, and that's the auto mechanic place. And that's not the right address either. So I pull out, and then I go across the train tracks. I'm like, well, it must be across the train tracks. And the GPS tells me I passed it. Like, where the shit is this place? So I make a U-turn. It was a road I could make a U-turn on, and then I go past the train tracks again. I go back to like the first left. I'm like, where the shit? And then I realize it is after the second place, but the road is so narrow right before the train tracks, and that's the entrance to the place I need to go to, so that I make a left into the main thing again. I got there, and then I was murdered.
Ooh,
It was, yeah.
what a twist ending! I didn't expect that.
And then they put my head on the award and trophy.
Yeah, everybody wins. Everybody wins. All right, yeah. So that's that's our show, everybody. If you're watching live on Twitch, which you can follow us at twitch.tv/apathetic enthusiasm. You can watch us live every Monday, 8 p.m. Central, 9 Eastern. It's like 6 Pacific time if you live, in LA with Brandon. Yeah. So there are like a lot of thunderstorms happening.
Lots of them.
All day where I live. And there's a tendency, I live in this house, it's relatively new construction, but from time to time, we lose some power. We lose like a power flicker, comes, turns off and on for a second, other times a more sustained power outage, but I don't know, it's risky doing things like podcasting, streaming live on Twitch to all four of you, when when I could lose everything. Like so if the show cuts out early, for whatever reason, it seems like an extremely short episode on your podcatcher. I apologize in advance. I lost power and everything's gone. Steve the Heeb has redeemed Truth or Dare. Oh, okay. Are you playing Truth or Dare?
What?
Truth or Dare, Brandon.
True. True. Truth. Yeah. Hit me with that truth.
Um, do you think my 3D printer is better than yours?
Yes.
Yes.
That was it. That was easy. That was
That
easy. Truth.
yeah, that was that, and that was my segue into the other thing I'm not doing because of the thunderstorms in the area, which is 3D printing tonight. One, because it makes a bunch of noise, which would potentially get picked up on the podcast. But two, my printer does not have any sort of resume function if you
Oh.
lose power or turn off the printer. So, unlike an FDM printer where you potentially could resume or fix a print,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, if I even like the slightest power glitch has ruined 3D prints for me
Kills
in
it.
the past. Done.
Just kills
Gone.
it.
Gone. Half a print.
Done.
You're done. You're done. And we've been printing, co-printing. It's like co-parenting, but with spaceships. We've both been printing over, I don't know, the last week, I guess, almost. This
Mhm.
epic spaceship design that we got online, and we're printing the same thing and sharing with each other what we've been printing. And this thing is huge. Like, how big would you say it is? Like, probably, is it a foot long? Like, it's I don't know.
It's bigger than a bread box.
Ooh,
That's-
okay. Everybody go
um,
find your bread boxes and
let's
use
see.
that for scale.
Here's a square
There it
of
is.
foam.
This is really good
It,
for the listeners.
it's a this square of foam is about 12 inches by 12 inches. It is not this big. Actually, it might be this big.
I
Actually, the
I
kind of think
think
of it.
it might be, like,
Oh,
now
shit.
you've printed from front all the way to the back, right? You're just missing the middle bits of cuz it prints in like 20 something pieces.
Yeah. I'm missing the middle bits. I'm missing basically all I'm missing now is the main body of the ship that the engine connects to and that the wings will connect to.
Okay. Okay. So you
I
only
think
have
that is
one piece left? You've got everything else printed?
like the windshield and the roll bar. I have not printed those yet,
Okay.
but those are pretty quick.
Yeah.
And I think two of the weapons maybe, and then I think I'm pretty much done. The landing
Wow.
gear A and B are. Do you print all of those off, or are those just variations?
So, I believe the model has like 3 different pieces of landing gear. So there's landing gear A, landing gear B, and then B is
Yeah,
left and right. So
right.
there's 2 pieces in the back and then 1 in the front. So it's like a tripod type sort of situation.
Um, sure.
I put those pieces on my slicer. That's the software that I use to send the files to my printer. And
Okay.
those rear landing gear pieces are huge. They're really tall. So that's potentially going to be one of the longer prints that I've had, like,
Oh,
at least in the pre-support.
I guess maybe I did. I guess maybe I didn't look at it that closely, or maybe I
Yeah.
just looked at the front landing gear. Huh?
Yeah. So
Who
anyway,
knew?
yeah. Um, I I don't know what else. I thought, hey, there's a common thing that we both did this week. We could talk about this 3D print, but I don't know really what else there's to say other than
That was fun.
resin looks awesome. But
Prison does look.
when you prime and sand, it also looks awesome. So
Yeah. So that's the thing that the main difference is yours comes out smooth already. In and all you have to do is prime and paint it. The thing about the PLA, you can just print it and then prime and paint it, but because of the nature of the plastic, printing out in layers, little like 0.04 millimeter layers, there is especially when there's curves, you can see where the layer lines are, like the steps. It's like kind of steps around the
yeah.
figure or the mini or whatever you're doing, and so what you should do is sand those things down, and then that'll make the steps smoother. But what I found out, what I finally realized after doing a little bit more research after all this time, was if you sand it, you sand it with like a 120 grit sandpaper, get some of those lines down, then you prime it. Or you go down there and sand it with like a 180 220, and then it makes it really smooth. Then you prime it with a like a fillable sandable primer, and then you sand it again, and then that makes it it fills some of those extra little lines, and then when you sand it, it makes it super smooth. And then you want to prime it again after you're done with that. Fill up more lines, sand it. So
Is this the first model that you've used like a spray paint type primer on too?
yeah, it is because when I was in San
Game changer,
Pedro,
man.
yeah, well, when I was in San Pedro, I didn't have a real good place to spray paint. It felt weird where I was like in my backyard and I had like a little old chair that I had, and I was putting it in there. But I've had this when we lived in Colorado Springs. We bought our house out there, and the house had like a wooden workbench that the previous owners had made, and it was there. And when we moved from Colorado, I was in Korea, and found out that the movers came and moved that wooden workbench along with it. And so we got to Hawaii, and all of a sudden there's this big ass wooden workbench. Like, no, that was now we have a workbench, right? That came with us to San Pedro, but that a bunch of shit was on the on it in the garage. We're now here at the new house, and instead of putting that in the garage, it's actually outside in the backyard. And so what I did, now I have a place
It's
to
now your paint
out,
studio.
yeah. So I took some cardboard, I put it up against the wall, in between the wall and the workbench, and now I have a place to use spray paint, and it works, and it's like kind of in the sun, it's outdoors. So yeah, I'm using it more.
It's awesome. It's good.
It's great. It's great.
So are you
What
saying I shouldn't just spray paint in my garage? Is that
Nah, I mean it's not
in my office? Just
right here.
poorly ventilated areas. Yeah.
So this spaceship that we both got from the Patreon that we follow, that we both subscribe to,
Right.
both of us,
Yeah.
individually. It's a really cool spaceship. We talked about priming it and all that type of stuff, but like I primed the PLA that I have is black, and then I primed it with black. So right now the undercoat is black. I don't know what color I'm going to actually paint the ship when it's all said and done. Have you put any thought into like your color palette?
A little bit. My thought is to go with sort of like a metallic silvery gray like base, almost just like a flat sort of steel type color. And then weather that with like some washes or the Nuln oil stuff that I've got to add into those crevices and add some of those shadows. But then I think I want to go even further than that by like actually some intentional weathering to make it look like it's been through some hard times. And then, but yeah, it's interesting because the model, for the most part, it's all the outside of the ship, but there are some areas on the inside, like within the cabin and stuff, where there's like a bunch of monitors and different things like that. And I didn't really think about that piece of the ship as much. But I think there's some awkward places to get in there, but I think it'd be cool to like paint those screens and stuff and actually like almost have it look like they're on and like lit up or something like that. So that could be cool, and maybe do like some brown on the seats or something to give like a more of like a leather look to them and stuff like that.
Oh,
So
yeah.
and then just there's some dynamic like things around it with like different lines and stuff where I may paint a different color to create more, make it not feel like it's all just one color throughout the whole thing.
Yeah. So like the main color of the ship, what color did you say you wanted to make it?
Like a dark silver gray like type cover. Probably
Okay.
more like a
Okay.
flat like gray, like a fighter jet type, color.
Okay. Yeah, I
Like
I
Maverick from Top Gun in theaters this weekend.
every everywhere May 27. Um yeah, I because it's already black, I don't want it to be black, but any color I put over the top of it is going to make it darker anyway. Um so I kind of want to make it a brighter color, and I don't do a lot of bright colored stuff. I think like the dragon I have, the thing that the two things I'm most proud of painting are the turtle and then that dragon that's in the back
Yeah.
there. And like I think I think I want like a cherry red, like a
Like a
hot
hot
rod.
rod. That'd be sweet.
Yeah, put
That'd be cool.
little flames on some of the little wings, like curve around.
Yeah, I think it'd be cool. Like, there's a whole bunch of like engine pieces that come out of the back, and if you had those like more of a metallic color, and then the rest of the body of it was like, like a flashy paint job, that could be really cool too. I
Yeah,
also,
yeah.
and this is something that I don't think is possible with an FDM printer, but I bought some my first like semi-transparent resin, and it's
Mhm.
blue colored. Um, but I'm gonna try and print the windshield because there's an actual windshield piece,
Oh,
and I'm gonna
yeah.
see if I can fit that in. Which it would, I mean, obviously it would be blue. It's blue resin. But I'm wondering if you'd be able to see through it enough to make it feel like it was actually like a window as opposed to.
Oh, mhm.
Um, so I'll probably test print that piece and see how it looks, and then if I hate it, I'll just not include all. I won't keep it in there or not. But
Yeah,
yeah,
what I might end up doing is, because if you print the windshield, then I mean, unless you have transparent material. So what I think I might do is print the windshield, and then maybe get some, like, you can go to Hobby Lobby or whatever and get, whether it's epoxy or some kind of clear coat,
yeah.
and maybe uh, put it in that shape, and then you can put it on top of it,
That's
and
that's a,
then
that's
and
that's
then
an
it would
interesting idea. That's
it'll be
inspired. Well, here's the deal. We are in the process of printing these. I'm sure the process of printing and painting and doing all these things will take a long time. But at some point, we'll have to do like a showcase of our two works. And I don't know, share it on our Twitter or something so that everybody can see what we're what we're actually working on
yeah.
with those things. So
We'll
now
see
that
we'll see your painting skills, which are have they've they've tripled, your painting skills, and mine. I The dragon was the pinnacle of my painting skills, but I think going back to the whole sanding thing, like, I that was the last thing I really worked on, sanding and getting down, and
yeah.
making it a smoother shape. The turtle, I did that too, and then everything after that I started just like, oh no, I'll just prime it here, because sanding was a frustrating experience, and mostly I didn't have the right sandpaper. Yeah, I went to Lowe's and I got like this little like hand sander, like it
Yeah.
just fits on like one finger. Um, I got a couple of other little sanding tools, and then the right grit as well. And now like, I was sitting there watching Joe Bob on Friday night, and like, with like a KN95, so the so the
so,
dust.
so you're not getting plastic bits. Yeah, I got my old Dremel tool out and was sanding some pieces, and I definitely wore a mask for that as well. I was like, yeah, I don't need little airborne bits of resin in my lungs. That's probably not great. I imagine for like the smaller like 35 millimeter sized minis, it's probably still kind of difficult to sand those. Like, is it
Oh
not?
yeah.
Or yeah,
No, it completely is, yeah.
yeah,
And so I think when I go back into to printing minis, because I want to, but I want to have them look good, and I need to be able to sand them. So I don't have a Dremel. I think I'm gonna pick one up, just so I can be able to get into some of those finer things, and get around the edges. And even with this spaceship as big as it is, there are some things I can't get into to sand, um, and some of those steps are still showing.
Yeah,
So,
there's definitely spots where there's like lingering evidence of supports in some of the like crevices and things where I'm like, I don't even know how I can get back there to clean that out, even with like a Dremel or thing. Like, it's just so narrow back there that
yeah.
I've tried like
an exacto
X-Acto
knife.
knife or even like a nail file. Try to
Mhm.
get back there with that, but yeah, I'm sort of torn right now because on the one hand, like these 35 millimeter minis, sort of the small mini that you'd be like a game token or for D&D things, those small minis, they're fun to paint because they're little, you don't need a lot, but to get good detail on those, it's really tough, right? Like I as much as I try a steady hand on those things, like some things are just really hard to paint. And then I printed the 75 millimeter, which is like way bigger. This size I like. It's like the size of like an action figure from like when we were kids. Um, but the thought of painting this guy is daunting because I'm like, oh,
Oh,
he's so much bigger. There's so much more stuff to do. And really, it's the same model that it would have been in the smaller size. I just like literally have access to more detail.
yeah.
But I don't know, just getting all the paint even just laid down on it feels just like, oh, okay, there's a lot of stuff. And I don't have like an airbrush set or anything like that. That's something I could add to my Amazon wish list.
Huh.
Hmm.
Yeah, I when I was at Hobby Lobby and I saw the airbrush or airbrush, air,
Yeah, airbrush.
whatever, yeah, airbrush. I was like, no, I don't know what I'm doing. I need let me figure out my
We didn't know
sanding
what we were
process.
doing with any of this stuff in December of last
No,
year.
I know,
We
I
didn't
know,
do
but
any of this. This is all still new
I'm
to us.
working on my sanding technique. But one thing that's helped with that, after moving to this new house, setting up the printer again, I I was using this gray PLA for a while, and it kept like breaking off, and I didn't think anything of it. I was just like, oh, maybe it's just the humidity down here. But then uh, I went to the older PLA that I had when I got first started printing, and that it didn't break at all. There was no there's no lines, like extra like little spider web type stuff
Yeah.
as the nozzles going back and forth. Like, oh, huh, interesting. So I that's what I started printing the spaceship with, and it worked great. And I was running out, so I'm like, okay, now I have to order more PLA. And then I was on Amazon for far too long, being like, this company has 500 reviews. This company has 501. They both have 4 stars. And I go to the reviews, and this is the worst company I've ever had. And then I go to the other company, this is the worst company I've ever had. Use the other company. I'm like, I don't know. I'll just get this one. So eventually, I got a black PLA, and it's PLA plus, and it needs to be hotter in order
Yeah.
to use this one. But it's primo. It's very solid. It's good.
Plus.
It's plus.
It's
It's plus.
plus.
So I've had good luck with it so far.
It's great.
And I think it's just because I'm in the new house and I'm out of San Pedro that it's just everything is
Everything's coming up. Everything's coming up, Brandon. To include new house, new life, new party central. I mean, having a new house provides you the opportunity to throw the extravagant LA parties you've always wanted to throw. To include over this last weekend, breaking in the house. How did that go?
It was good. So Friday was Joe Bob night.
Joe
But
Bob every
before
Friday night.
every Friday night, woo! Last driving. So there was a wedding. One of my cousins got married this weekend. She got married on Saturday, and my older brother was invited with his wife Cammie, and they flew down from Washington State. So they were coming in for the weekend, and they were leaving. They left today, And so originally we were making plans for them to come over on Friday night, and then everyone was kind of like, I said, you know what, I have to watch Joe Bob anyway, so we'll see you on Saturday. And so we watched Nosferatu, the original 1922 from F.W. Murnau, and then the remake from Werner Herzog, Nosferatu. So, anyways, both good movies. Glad we watched them. Anyway, didn't see my family. Saturday went to the wedding.
You saw your other family, Joe Bob.
So, Joe Bob and Darcy the Mail Girl. And Saturday went to the wedding. That was fun. It was cold at the reception, like so cold, but it was at this like mansion out in Chino Hills. It was, I'll have to send you pictures. It was, the house was huge, nice pool, open bar. it was great. Okay, Sunday. That's when we decided.
Sunday.
That's when the cruises are going to get together. Come over to the new house. That way, my older brother Tim could see the new house. And so everybody came over at like 1-ish. I woke up at 8 and started cleaning. Like, ah. My parents bought some chicken, some riblets, and some carne asada. And my dad cooked the chicken and the ribs before they came down. I was in charge of cooking the carne asada. And so my older brother, Tim and Cammie, his wife, my brother Brett and his girlfriend / fiance Chella, my uncle Chris and his grandson came over, Chelsea and my son were here, of course, and just hung out in the backyard. And at some point in time, Brett was like, "Hey, do you have any board games?" Like, I do.
You're like, do you know where you are right now?
Do you know where you are? But then he's like, you know what? The big five sporting goods is right down the road. Do you have cornhole? I'm like, no, I don't. Like, okay, I'll just go get cornhole. So I gave him some money. Him and Chella went to go to Big Five. They came back with a cornhole board, and they came back with a croquet set. And I don't know if you've played croquet, Travis. I don't know if that's
not since high tea with the queen back in I don't know. No. Back in my Windsor days, I haven't really had a rousing game of croquet.
Yeah, makes sense. Makes sense. Yeah, no, it is a classic sport, classic sport. But so he came back with croquet, and so I'll tell you, the last time I played croquet was at least 22 to 25 years ago. Yeah, and we didn't play at our house where I grew up. We actually played at my great grandpa's house in Monrovia, and all the kids, all the cousins would, like, the adults would play, and then the kids would go, and then they would start. Then they'd all play, and so Brett wasn't really a part of that. Tim was a part of that, and he used to pick on me a lot, because in croquet you start from one side, you go through a bunch of wickets. Get to the other side, hit a stick, come back through the wickets in reverse order, and whoever makes it back to the original stick wins. If you hit somebody else's ball, you can put your foot on your ball, plant it right next to theirs, hit your ball, and then it bounces the other ball, the opponent's ball, away.
Yeah, and you just rocket that thing across the lawn.
Yeah. Yes, so everybody is an asshole, especially my older brother and Brett. But so we started doing that. It's up to like 6 players. So we got everybody out there. My kid was like hanging out, playing with his uncles, and it was so cool to, like, after all that time, to have a yard to we all get together and have a good time. It was nice. It was nice.
That's so cool. I'm envious of your proximity to family members at this juncture.
I will say this as a side note. Don't buy a croquet set from Big Five Sporting Goods, because Brett, we set the whole game up. We set one of the sticks up, and we're like, how do we play? My dad was trying to explain how we played, and he's like, you put the ball next to the stick. That's where you hit it off from. And so Brett hit the stick with the mallet to get the ball to move, and then broke the stick within 5 minutes of setting it up. Like, oh shit! So that's a crappy set. A little bit later, Uncle Brett was he was winning. He was clearly winning, so he was going backwards just to hit everybody else's ball, just to be an asshole.
Sure.
And so he hit my kid's ball, and uh, and so he like the little one, he's 10. He's just like pretending like to be really mad, and so he barely slams the mallet down. Like he joke like hits the mallet into the ground, and it snaps, and it just and falls apart, and he immediately starts crying like it sucks that this just happened, but it's funny that it happened. And then so I look at it, and the mallet part, there's a little piece of stick going out. I was like, yeah, these are crappy anyways, don't worry, man, don't even worry about it. I throw it, I just kind of toss it, and then that little part of the stick that was pulling out of the mallet broke. Like, God, big five. Brett took it back, he got his money back. But
All right, there you go. Big
Croquet.
Five, not necessarily the pinnacle of quality, but great customer service.
Ooh, yeah,
Also,
yeah.
I just looked up Big Five Sporting Goods because I was really worried that it was a extremely regional thing to Southern California, because I had never seen a Big Five in any other place other than Southern California. But apparently they have retail stores all across
Everywhere.
the Southwest, including Texas, all the way up to Idaho. So, and Brandon has now opened his window. Oh, and it's
I did.
what's ringing?
That was, that was Dexter calling me.
Oh, give me.
Oh,
Oh, all right. Well, I'm glad you had a raging
was
party.
fun.
I
let me figure out the light situation.
it sounds like a great time. I have had the urge to throw a party like that, just with like people from work and stuff, but I live so far away from work that I feel like inviting people to a party at my house is like asking them to run an errand or something. Like, hey guys, I'm having a party at my house. Come on over. It's Saturday, 2:00. Does that mean we have to leave by noon to get there? How far is that? Like, yeah. So I don't know. I just need. I mean, I'll just invite the neighbors. I'll just invite the people that live close by.
Some of my coworkers, the ones that helped us move the stuff into the moving truck from San Pedro, and some of my other coworkers like, hey, I'm gonna have a housewarming party. I mean, you got to drive to see me though, and that's 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 about 2 hours for you. So, and they're like, yeah, we know.
We're gonna have burgers, but if you want to come,
we know you're inviting us just to, and we won't show up. I'm like, but I invited you.
Hey,
speaking.
I don't know that you're too good to come to my party. I don't know these things.
Speaking of being too far away, you're too far away, but I'm still gonna have you and the family come out someday. I don't think we're gonna do the 40th.
We're gonna start walking now, and and we'll get there. We'll get there eventually. We'll get there soon.
I think you've got some other family trips planned before you have time for little cruises.
Yeah, at this point in these tough economic times, I'm gonna be lucky if I can take my family out for the weekend. But we're gonna figure it out. We'll the economy will bounce back. The Fed's gonna raise those interest rates. Everything's gonna be fine. Let's shift gears.
Let's shift gears. Let's talk about other evil things, and let's talk about video games we've been playing. This will just be real quick from my end.
Sure.
There's 2 games I picked up recently, Travis. I picked up Rogue Legacy 2, which I guess has been on a while, but it just came out on Xbox.
Okay.
So I've been playing Rogue Legacy 2.
Is that a Star Wars game?
No, it could be.
Okay,
Maybe it
I'm
is.
looking it up.
It's a roguelite game, like one of the original, where every run's a little bit different, but there is a progression aspect to it. It's fun. I enjoy the heck out of it, and what's cool about it is I can do it in little spurts. So, oh, cool, I played. Okay, no, I'm done with it. The second game I played, and I just realized Matt is saying, "Oh no, no!" There is a movie franchise called The Evil Dead, which was created by Sam Raimi, has Bruce Campbell in it. It was Evil Dead 1, and then Evil Dead 2, Dead by Dawn, and then the sequel Army of Darkness, which was much more of a comedy. And then there was like a kind of remake of Evil Dead that doesn't really count. It was produced by Sam Raimi. And then there was Ash versus the Evil Dead, which was on Stars for 3 seasons. They came out with a game, and I was like, I'm gonna get it. I'm gonna get it. And so I did. And this game is cool. So what it is there's it's an asymmetric. I forget what the term is. Asymmetric style game, kind of like Dead by Dawn or Friday the 13th. The game. It's a game where there's one person who plays as the villain, and then the rest of you, the survivors,
Oh,
you're
okay,
trying you're trying to get through the objectives in order to escape or beat the boss. So in this game, one person plays as the demon, the Kandaharian demon, and 4 others are the survivors, and they're trying to find pieces of this map so they can find the lost pages of the Necronomicon and the Kandaharian dagger, so they can defeat the Dark Ones, destroy the Necronomicon, or protect the Necronomicon, and send evil back to hell. There is a
okay.
Bruce Campbell. Bruce Campbell is in it. He's like every era of Ash is in it. So all those Evil Dead movies I talked about, there's a version of him in of each of those. There's 4 different classes. There's leader, hunter, support, and warrior. So they all have different perks and stuff like that. So if you get 4 of your folks together, they they boost each other up and then synergize, and it's fun. I'm playing with our buddy Aaron, and it's hard as shit. The playing as a demon, playing as a demon is kind of cool too, because you kind of move around through the forest like it does in the movie. You can possess some of the survivors. You can possess minions. You can set like traps in the supply crates. So like a bunch of like mini ashes will like jump out of the supply crate and like jump on you and stuff like that. Raising your fear, and it's fun. It's a fun game.
Is it strictly like PvP, or is there's you can play like a story mode?
There isn't a story mode in the like traditional sense. There are missions that you can do. So there's like 9 different missions you can do, and they're all based off of either the show or the movie. And they unlock different characters. You can do strictly PvP. You can also do like players versus an AI computer,
Okay.
or you can just be by yourself and play against the computer. Everything gaining you XP and to level up these characters and give them better perks or auras or abilities.
Based on the feedback in the chat, it sounds like Matt loves this game.
Matt is scared to death. So Matt doesn't like zombies. He hates zombies, and zombies are like the slowest, least creepy creature of all time.
Yeah,
because
like,
they're
my wife, who won't watch any horror movies, watched like 6 seasons of The Walking Dead.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah.
And it was like, this isn't scary. Just don't go there. Just walk.
Walk the other way.
Just walk a normal speed, and you win. So he hates zombies. There was the Rainbow Six game that came out. Was it Rainbow Six? Yeah, Rainbow Six Siege or something like that. It's free to play. It's on the PC and Xbox. And basically, it's like an alien invasion. And so each of the missions, you go into a map, and there are people that are infected by this alien virus or whatever, and they'll attack you. Matt scared to death of that game because he's like, oh, it's like zombies. Like, it's not zombies. They're infected by this virus. Oh, they look like zombies. I'm scared. I'm scared of zombies. Um, I don't know. I don't know why he's so afraid of zombies. I'm saying, like, Travis, what's the scariest thing, like, monster wise, in your mind?
Like horror movie type like
Sure,
premises.
yeah. Uh-huh,
Um,
sure. Monsters in general, yeah.
I don't know. I think like the supernatural, like ghost type stuff is the stuff that tends to creep me out the most.
Yeah, why is that?
Yeah. I
Explore that for me.
Oh, okay. Well, when I was a child, I had an encounter with Bruce Willis, and no, I think for the most part, like ghosts existing on like a different plane of existence or something, or like not being visible all the time, and being like out of like the normal set of rules of like physics, right? So things moving without, any, visible evidence of why something's
Yeah.
moving, haunting, like possession, like all that kind of stuff. That to me is just super creepy. Whereas, like, I don't know, a zombie or an axe murderer or things like that, that's like a person or like
It's tangible.
yeah, 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 yeah. So then it's like, oh, you have to run further or outsmart, Michael Myers or something, or whatever.
Yeah.
So, yeah,
I'm with you there, right? Ghosts, you can shoot somebody with a chainsaw, right?
sure, yeah. You can't shoot no
If you
ghosts.
shoot, can't shoot no ghosts.
Not
Ghosts,
unless
ghosts are,
you've got like some ectoplasm,
yeah,
cool backpack with a laser that shoots out of it.
that's right.
Man,
And
I need to watch some Ghostbusters.
and I'm willing to bet that a majority of the folks out there do not have that. A majority.
Yeah,
There might be a few, but a majority don't have those
sure.
things. Anyway, Matt's a wuss when it comes to zombies. I mean, they're just so
It's
slow.
okay.
I mean,
It's
come
okay.
on.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of zombies, since we're on the subject, I just saw that there is a Night of the Living Dead 2 coming out, which is kind of like an unofficial sequel to Night of the Living Dead, but it has three of the cast members from the Night of the Living Dead sequel, Day of the Dead, and we're not sure yet if those are the same three characters from Day of the Dead in Night of the Living Dead 2. But I just throwing it out there for anyone
Twitter
who's
is a
interested.
buzz right now with speculation. I tell you what.
Yeah.
I tell you
Tell
what.
you.
Speaking
what.
of Twitter being a buzz with things, I'm going to talk about what I watched this weekend that you didn't watch. And
Don't talk about it too much.
I'm going to talk about every single detail in depth. Rescue Rangers movie. Tapping right into the 90s nostalgia of afternoon Disney adventures. Disney Plus has released a film based on the Rescue Rangers cartoon where Chip and Dale are voiced by John Mulaney and it was
Andy Samberg.
Andy Samberg, thank you. And it's a comedy with so many different like picture like a Roger Rabbit type blending of reality with the cartoon world, and it's just normal for cartoons to coexist with humans. And they just grab all the nostalgia possible, pack it in with a bunch of other hilarious cultural references. Fun for the whole family, but definitely some jokes and references that are just there for the adults as well. For our interdimensional RSS listeners, there are a couple of Rick and Morty references throughout the
There's
film.
a couple, huh?
As
I
a
only
mod
saw
of the
one.
subreddit, I'm surprised you didn't know that.
Yeah. There's subreddit drama going on. So
Ooh,
that was
spicy.
just
Ooh, stay tuned to the post show for all the details.
stay tuned. I did see a picture that Phil Mark on who was one of the artists on Rick and Morty posted with Chippendale in like they look like the Chippendale versions of Rick and Morty.
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
that's the only reference I saw.
That was a really quick reference that I actually didn't see when I was watching the film the first time, because
Oh.
it's like flipping through a bunch of different options, and that's just one of them, and I missed it.
Oh.
But yeah, there's just like a lot of good stuff in there. Um, I will say they were really creative with some of the ways that they got around legally being able to license some of these characters, because it's not just Disney characters in this movie. They are pulling characters from all sorts of genres, different. I think I saw a South Park character in one scene. Um, they use Sonic from the new Sonic movies, but
Yeah.
not the new Sonic movies Sonic, the ugly Sonic from the first trailers that got released for that movie before they fixed him. From what I saw online, apparently the way they got around it is it's basically like parody law, right? So they changed a few subtle aspects of the ugly Sonic, and they're doing a parody of that character, and without, like, in the script having to be too literal about who it is, they were able to feature that character quite a bit in the movie,
Huh.
which I thought was kind of funny. And there are frequent scenes where characters in the movie are just looking at him and they're just like, and it like zooms in on his like mouth, that like everybody online criticized what Sonic's mouth looked like in those trailers with the teeth. And I don't know, it's great. So if you haven't watched it, it's fun. If you loved Rescue Rangers or any of the, Tailspin, Darkwing Duck type shows from back in the day, definitely check it out. Yeah, I don't know. I thought it was good. So
I do want to watch it. So on Sunday, all my family's here. My cousin, my uncle's grandson, is in the house. He's not hanging out with us outside. He's in the house. He's sitting on the couch, and I go in there.
he's watching
And
Rescue Rangers.
he's well, it's at the wedding. At the wedding, he's just sitting in the it's a Catholic church, and he's sitting in one of the pews, and he's got an earphone in, earbud in. He's just watching TikTok the entire wedding. Um, so I go in on Sunday, and he's on the couch, and he's just watching TikTok, and the TV's turned off. I was like, "Hey man, like you can watch TV. Go ahead and watch TV." He's like, "Really? Can I?" Like, "Yeah." Like, here's a controller, here's the buttons,
Here's how you
and there
work
you
the
go.
Xbox.
Here you go. And so when everyone was leaving, I saying goodbye. Everyone drove off. I walk inside the house, and
He's just
sure enough,
watching TikTok compilations on YouTube.
no, this is now we'll reverse it. Now he's watching Chip and Dale Rescue Rangers. We're like, God, son of a biscuit. And the kid's like, no, we started watching it already. So we stopped watching it.
It's
Like,
all right. You
"God,
can hit
little
you can watch start over, click start over, whatever, and
little bastard. I want to talk to his mom, my
yeah, it's
cousin Dana.
fine. All right. I don't know if I will say this. The storm was good to us. We didn't get cut off early, so
No,
that is good. Between
tempting
now,
fate.
tempting fate. That's right. I had to create that anti jinx so that we could get through this episode. So between now and our next episode of Apathetic Enthusiasm, there will probably be another Rick and Morty podcast. So Interdimensional
Right.
RSS fans, if you have not listened to the last episode of that show, please go check it out. Brandon and I pitch our own episode concepts, and there is still a poll out there on Twitter where you can go vote for your favorite episode pitch. So if you haven't checked that out, let us know what you think. Go watch that episode, or you can check it out on YouTube, youtube.com/apathetic enthusiasm. And then Brandon, I have to know. We have to have this out on the podcast. Moon Knight, Hawkeye, a bunch of Marvel shows, Boba Fett, Star Wars shows. You weren't going week to week. You were like, nope, I'm not watching it yet. I'll binge Moon Knight when all 6 episodes are out. Obi-Wan starts this week.
Was it start Wednesday?
I think it's Thursday, right? I mean, I'll look. So
okay, all right. I
2 episodes.
I would like to.
2 episodes in the premiere.
Oh, okay, all right.
First episode airs on the 27th, so I think that's Friday. Right?
It's Friday, yeah.
The question:
Are
you gonna watch it week to week, or are you gonna make me wait?
It starts on Friday. Friday's not a good day for me to start watching things.
That's fine.
Friday's the last drive-in with Joe Bob Briggs and Darcy the Mail Girl.
I mean, it's gonna be on all day Friday.
Yeah,
you could watch.
Guess where I am? Oh shit! Oh no! I'm gonna miss Joe Bob that night. Oh no! Oh no! Steely Dan! I'm going to Steely Dan concert on Friday.
Oh shoot!
Fuck.
The closest thing you get to jazz.
Oh no! Oh no! Oh no! You're listening to me live break down in my head.
Tune into Apathetic Enthusiasm this week, where Brandon has an existential crisis live on the podcast.
Like, do I? I can skip the concert. I've already paid money for it.
Okay, all right. This is where we're gonna close out with this, everybody. Explain to me the appointment level viewing of Joe Bob's Last Drive-In, because you talk about Joe Bob every week. You talk about watching these movies. I understand it's a family tradition. You guys watch them together. Like, why is it only on Friday nights? Like, can you only watch it on Friday nights? Like,
no. So what happens is it is on live. It streams live Friday night.
Okay.
And then like the next day or a couple days later, then both of those movies are on, and then you can watch it. You can watch them later. But the thing is like when there's 2 movies in a row and it's for basically like 4.5, 5 hours, like you want to be watching it with others. It's like even though I'm with the wife and kid, like there are other people across the US that are also watching it at the exact same time. And like now my father-in-law Mitch, him and his wife Cindy, they also watch it live. And
right.
so Saturday when we dropped the kid off before we went to the wedding, like I very briefly talked to Mitch about Nosferatu and being like, yeah, I've never seen the Herzog version, and he was saying, yeah, I really like that version because the score, the way it's shot, people call it boring, but it's not, like
right.
So
yeah.
there's again like a communal aspect to it, and
yeah.
and like after the fact, like we could come back and watch it, but I'm not as interested in it unless it's an event that we have.
So it's more about watching it when it happens because that's when everybody else is watching. Like, it's the closest you get to like caring about sports. Like,
yeah,
like I could record a football game and watch it later, but it's not the same as like knowing that it's happening at that time and lots of other people are watching it live and knowing that people around the world are excited about at the same time I am and things like that, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, all right, so that makes sense. So if you need tickets to Steely Dan on Friday and you're in the LA area, make sure you're following us at Apathusiast.
Talk to Tony, big Tony Levig, and he has my tickets. I gave him the money, so
okay, there you go.
All right. Well,
yeah. Well, I think that's our show. Thanks for hanging out. Thanks for being a part of it. Thanks. If you're in the Twitch chat, we appreciate it. We're gonna stick around for a little bit longer. We'll do some post show hangout just for you over on Twitch. So make sure to not go anywhere. If you don't want to miss that, make sure you're following along on Twitch, and then follow us all over the internet. We've dropped a bunch of these already, but you follow us on Twitter at Apathusiast. I'm at Jogomino. He's at Barnyard Cruise. You can follow us on Facebook, facebook.com/Apathetic Enthusiasm Show, and send us an email, apatheticenthusiasmshow@gmail.com. This podcast, all of our podcasts, apatheticenthusiasm.com. You can get all of our stuff out there. Thank you to everybody that watches, that listens, that supports us on Patreon, patreon.com/apatheticenthusiasm. You guys are the best.
Woo.
Continuing to support all of our podcast endeavors. Really appreciate all of you. And anyone that drops the bits, drops the subs, drops the points over on Twitch, you guys are doing the work as well. So thank you so much for being here. And that's it. That's it for this episode. Until next week. 2 weeks, 8 weeks. I don't know. I don't know when we're gonna make another one of these.
However long it takes. We will see you then, and we will talk to you then, and you'll listen to us then, if you do listen to us. Well, if you're listening to this now, then I'm assuming you're going to listen to us next time, unless you're like, no, now I'm not going to do it out of spite.
Unless you get eaten by a zombie.
Oh,
Matt.
oh, baby Matt. Oh, baby Matt, the zombie's going to get you. Oh, little baby boy, the zombie's going to get you. Okay, have a good night. We'll see you at the post show.
Okay, bye.